Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be talking about first, kind of go over everything that happened in the first round of the NBA playoffs, give my thoughts. Yeah. And then after, I'll be talking about what happens, what my predictions are, and what I think will be happening in the second round. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, I just have a bunch of notes here. So, I'll just, go through them in an order. So, Cavs Raptors, I'll start with that. So I think with the series, the Cavs came out looking very like the Cavs have the experience, right, over the Raptors, and that was a big reason for why I picked them to win. And I think at the start of the series, they tried to play to that experience and try and get play very like mature, kind of slower, but also like more methodical. But I think that they came out too slow and they weren't able to get the threes down. They weren't able to get the go on any like big runs, I think, even though they won the first two games. I don't think they were able to really play to their strengths as well as they did during the regular season because the Raptors came out really intense. They're not as mature, so they don't really take it as slow in these moments, but they were playing really fast, hitting a lot of threes. And so that was why that series went so far. And Harden was very lackadaisical, a lot of turnovers, not a lot of getting back in some of those games, which definitely wasn't a good thing for the Cavs, but they were able to get through it. The bigs like Jared Allen really helped close out that series. Evan Mobley was very good. The Raptors, I think that they need a real point guard. Um, they don't have very good guard play. Like Scotty Barnes played very well, but yeah, like Brandon Ingram was injured, but he wasn't playing very well. So they just need better guards. Um, but I think that the next year for the Raptors could be good. So, but yeah, this season was the series was not like they weren't favored. I wasn't expecting them to win. So the fact they made it 7 games is very impressive. Okay, so I'll talk about the Wolves and the Nuggets now. So Denver in the series looked very slow. I know Aaron Gordon was injured, Peyton Watson was injured, but they looked very slow. To be honest, they just look like they're out of their prime, which is kind of crazy to say, but they just like yeah, they were just getting beat down the floor. They Jokic wasn't couldn't protect the rim. Jamal Murray was getting targeted. They just looked like very poor defensively, and they were getting exploited by like Jade McDaniels and I would assume it was playing very well. Um, I don't like Cam Johnson because Cam Johnson, I despise him. Everyone always talks about, Cam Thomas versus Cam Johnson. Kind of that's what I think about sometimes is people always talk about, oh yeah, Cam Johnson's this player, he's so good, he can defend, he can shoot, but to be honest, he's been shooting quite poorly. And I just don't like him at all. I feel like that comparison it just makes me mad because he's never shooting very well and people just like the idea of him, but he's never quite there. Um, yeah, Denver just looks slow. The Wolves really came out intense. They had a lot of pressure. They played very well. They looked very hungry, and even though like Dante's injured, Anthony Edwards is injured, they like closed that series out quite well, and everyone stepped up. And Terrence Shannon Jr. is a really big bright spot for that series for them. So next thing I will talk about is the Magic and the Pistons. So the thing about this series is the first 4 games, I felt like the Magic were shooting way above what everyone had expected. So, during the season, horrible 3-point shooting team, atrocious. I was expecting them to be very poor on the threes, but they just would not miss. And when they went into that game 6 where they missed 20 straight shots, if I'm being honest, it was I felt like it wasn't fair, but it was kind of expected with how lucky they had been getting with all like the daggers, and the Pistons would go on runs to try and close out those games they lost, but then the Magic would hit some crazy shots, and you're like, well, they're not hitting these during the regular season. Like, I just don't know how this is possible. Yeah, they just were really hot in their previous games, but they went on a big shooting slump. But they were answering the Pistons' runs. This is a thing. This is what I also think. The Pistons start off these games like too slow, except for Game 7, they played well. But most of these games, they start really slow and they kind of have to climb back. I think that they got their flow in Game 7. I would hope that they continue to play to that level because that is what we saw from them in the regular season. But yeah, like all the other games, they looked very slow. They came out just like unable to hit threes. Like nobody's really creating shots, and it was big for when they were, because then they played to their level and they beat the Magic easily. So that's big. Um, I don't know. Oh yeah, the Thompson twins. So I guess I'll talk about this more with the Rockets. I guess yeah, for the Pistons as well. Duncan Robinson was subbed off in game four, I think, when they lost. He That was annoying because he's such a big shot creator for them, and when they subbed him off, they lost so much of that. So just a little note I had. Another thing is, okay, so I'll talk about the Rockets and the Lakers now. So with the Rockets and the Pistons, I think that the Thompson twins have such a low ceiling for how much they can really impact the offensive end. Like, although they're so good on defense, especially Asar Thompson, they just it's just such a liability to have them on offense because they're unable to shoot. They're athletic, but teams can just load up. Like you can just sag off of these guys, put like two people, and just like build a wall like Giannis, but they're not like 7 foot. You can't, so they can't really do anything. So they just become like connectors where they just pass it, but they don't generate any advantages. I feel like they are just wasted space on the offensive floor until they can build jump shots. I don't know if they will be able to, but if they can, that'd be good. But right now, I'm not high on those guys at all. But Sar Thompson did really play quite well in Game Seven, I will say. Okay, Lakers Rockets. Um, to be honest, like I couldn't care for this series. Like the Rockets, they're kind of a boring team to watch without KD, and like they made it interesting, but they are just disappointing. The Lakers, like I don't really care for them at all. Both these teams will lose to the Thunder. I guess I'll talk about that soon, but both these teams are just gonna get absolutely crushed. So there's not really any point in me even really talking about that at all because it's just not really worth it. Like there's just gonna be an absolute devastation. Thunder, they did their job. They closed out the series in 4 games. I wasn't expecting anything else from them, so congratulations to them. And oh yeah, 76ers Celtics. Um, this was a big series. The Celtics disappointing again. They've had some bad series in the past. This was just a bad one. Um, it's been good for Philly. I could see them making a bit of a run here. Okay, now I will talk about the KL. That is it. I'll talk about the second round predictions now. Okay, so for the first one I'll talk about the 76ers and the Knicks series. So this series should be good. I expect it to be very close. I would say that the Sixers definitely have a big chance of winning this just because their creation has really taken a step up in this series now that everyone's healthy. Joel Embiid hopefully he's able to play, but they just have looked very like Paul George is really getting to his role. BJ Edgecombe looks really good. Tyrese Maxey, like they can just score in such a variety of ways, which is very unlike the Celtics team. Which I'll add, like Celtics just their philosophy of shooting threes is just so hit and miss that they lose a lot of series, like the series they should have won last series. They kind of give teams life just by how streaky their shooting is, but it can. So I don't know. Like I'm very confused on the Celtics team and what they should do next. But okay, yeah. So Sixers next. I think that also because the Sixers have the young players like VJ, Tyrese, Quentin Grimes. They can definitely I could see them matching New York in the wings department. I know New York has a lot of wings though, so that might be hard, but I think that the Sixers have a lot better scoring. I think Jalen Brunson could be a rough I think Jalen Brunson will play quite well this series because I guess he would probably have Tyrese or Quentin Grimes maybe on him. And that's a good matchup for him. I know Jalen Brunson will probably play well in that. Cat, I guess the big thing is Cat and like yeah, OG and Mikal Bridges and seeing how they perform. I think that it's going to be difficult for OG and Mikal because yeah, PG and that's a hard matchup for them. And Paul George has been playing quite well defensively in the last series, so that should be big for the Sixers. So my prediction will be Sixers in 7. Yeah, Sixers in 7. Next series, Timberwolves Spurs. So with the injuries to Dante DiVincenzo and Anthony Edwards, I think it's a lot to ask for the Wolves having beat Denver in the way they did it. I think it's not going to be the same recipe for success against this Denver team because they were mostly attacking Jokic at the time. They were really going at him and testing his rim protection abilities. But for Wemby, like, yeah, you can't really do that against Wemby. And I think that San Antonio will, they're going to force them into taking a lot of threes. And because Julius Randle will try and get to that mid range, but he can probably try and bully Wemby a little bit, but he won't be able to get in close enough. So probably take a lot of mid ranges. I don't know if they'll be able to make. I think a big thing for the Wolves is can they make enough threes to kind of offset the Spurs' ability to attack, and they have all those slashers and they can get really hot. So I think the Wolves really need to hit all their shots, like just be very consistent on the threes and the middies. Rudy Gobert, he's gonna have to do a big job against Wemby in the paint. I could see him like stopping him from close, maybe, not stopping him, but hampering him, kind of similar to how we did Jokic. But if Wemby gets him outside on an island, like Wemby's too agile, he's too fast for Rudy, which I think. So I think that this is going to be a hard series for the Wolves. Anthony Edwards definitely has to come back, but I think it's going to be Spurs in six. Yeah, Spurs in six. Cavs, Pistons. This is a hard one for me. I do like both of these teams a lot. Um, just talk. I'm not sure actually. I'll just talk about this right now. So Cavs, James Harden didn't play. He didn't have his best series, but also I think the Raptors did bail him out a lot by fouling him. They just were getting very handsy, and I know he's foul baiting, but you kind of have to expect that from James Harden. Like you can't really go and be like, why is he doing that? Like he's going to be fouling. You have to keep your hands off. They weren't doing that, which is why he got all those calls. Donovan Mitchell, I think this is going to be a big series for the Cavs. Like this is a kind of a make or break series for this team. If they lose this series, I could see them kind of blowing it up because it's been like what is it, like 4 or 5 years of Donovan Mitchell in Cleveland now, and they haven't really had too much to show for it. So this is a big series for the Cavs. um, I think it's going to be hard for the Pistons to match like Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley because they do have Jalen Duren, but he's not really. I don't know if he's able to gonna be able to contain both of them at the same time. Like because the Cavs like to run a lot of double big. I don't know if the Pistons can match that, but they are a lot. They are very physical, so maybe Amin Thompson can get or Asar Thompson can get into that. Um, I think Cade Cunningham will have a good series if he's being guarded by um, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell. Like it should be, he's good at taking advantage of mismatches and getting inside and kind of playing to his strengths. So I think he'll have a good series. I think it's again very much on the other outside creation other than Cade. Um, I think Jalen Duren is gonna have to have like he's gonna have to be getting a lot of the boards to me, making sure that the Cavs don't get a bunch of offensive rebounds. The Cavs are really it's gonna really depend on how well they're able to shoot the ball because they have like streaky shooters like Sam Merrill and Max Strus. Dean Wade is going to be very big in his defense. I guess he might be guarding Cade. So if he's guarding Cade, that might be difficult for Cade to get through that. Tobias Harris, I think that they're just going to have, like, the Pistons are really going to have to take advantage of when they get the mismatches. And the Cavs are really going to have to be taking advantage of the bigs. I think that overall, hmm, I would say Pistons in seven again to last series. I would say it's going to be in seven. I think it'll be a really close series, and I'm not even sure. Yeah, I'll just say Pistons in seven. There you go. That's my prediction. That's a close one. That's going to be an interesting series. I'm excited for that. Lakers Thunder. This should be easy for the Thunder. I would expect them to win in no less than 5 games. Or wait, sorry, no more than 5 games. They are the better team. They'll be able to beat the Lakers very easily. They've clearly had the Lakers like number even when they've had Luca, which is just another really bad sign for the Lakers. If you're a Lakers fan, it's going to be a bit of a decimation. So I would just say, yeah, like the Lakers can't compete with the Thunder. It's pretty simple. I would just say like Thunder in five. And okay, that's all my predictions. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll make the Cam Thomas video soon.